Hey guys, it's Lumen. Welcome to the first episode of Pad for Dummies, a video series aimed at definitively covering all the information that a new player needs but does not receive in the tutorial. In this episode, I will be covering basic team composition and the individual card info display. What is a team? A team is the set of cards that you take into the dungeon to fight with. During the tutorial, you started out with your starter dragon choice and 2 slimes. Later, you added a yellow carbuncle to your team. As a result, you had access to light attribute damage for the rest of the tutorial. There are 6 slots on a team. The first slot is the leader, the last slot is the helper, and the middle 4 slots are known as subordinates, or subs. Since the helper effectively functions as a second leader, I'm going to simplify the roles down to either sub or lead. Don't worry, I'll go over the helper role more thoroughly in a future video. Your team determines your survivability, your firepower, and your playstyle. All the cards work together to counter the dungeon mechanics, survive hits, and kill enemy spawns. Therefore, team building strategies mainly focus on maximizing team synergy while preparing effective responses to enemy skills in a certain dungeon. Team construction is one of 2 major factors that will dictate your chances of clearing the dungeon. The other is player skill. A well-built team can greatly alleviate the difficulty of the dungeon, while a poorly built one may mean doom for even the most skilled players. To understand the idea of synergy, we need to be able to evaluate individual cards. Here is Saber, my favorite card in the game. The name will always be at the top of the info screen along with rarity, represented by stars, and an identification number. While rarity is supposed to be a standard of value, Gung-Ho's application of rarity is somewhat inconsistent, making it an unimportant metric in today's game. Below the rarity are some typings. There are 12 possible types in the game, with every card having 1 to 3 typings. Though typings are important for multiple reasons, the most important aspect for new players is that typing can be a requirement to activate leader skill effects. Moving down, we have the Awoken skills in a column on the right side of the art. Awoken skills, nicknamed Awakenings because you need to awaken the Awoken skills for them to become active, are best classified as secondary abilities that significantly impact the value of a card due to their enormous impact on card performance in any given dungeon and on any given team. The main way to awaken these Awoken skills is to feed Tamatra, 1 for each awakening. At the time of making this video, there are a total of 78 unique Awoken skills in the game, and each card can have a maximum of 9 awakenings, which means the number of possible Awoken skill combinations is limitless. After the awakenings, we have the bottom third of the card info display, which starts with the card icon. The importance of the icon lies in its display of the card's attributes in the top left and/or bottom right corners. In particular, the top left corner is known as the main attribute, while the bottom right corner is known as the sub-attribute. The in-game difference lies in the damage output. If the main and sub-attribute are different, then the sub-attribute will deal damage equal to 30% of the main attribute damage. However, if the main and sub-attribute are the same, then the sub-attribute will only deal damage equal to 10% of the main attribute damage, and if you have no sub-attribute, then you won't be dealing any sub-attribute damage. On the right side are the card's basic stats of health, attack, and recovery. Yes, the last abbreviation is RCV, not RCU. Though card stats are not a good measurement of card value, the numbers are still generally useful as benchmarks and become much more important in certain gameplay contexts. Card stats are directly determined by the card's level, so a surefire way to improve your card is to level it up. We'll go over monster leveling more in the future. Next to the level and above the experience gauge is the monster cost. Originally, monster cost was designed as a restraint to prevent teams from loading up with tons of powerful cards by setting a maximum team cost limit. Thus, players would have to strategize by combining powerhouses with inferior options in order to get around the cost limit. Of course, monster cost has become obsolete since the release of the infinite cost badge that is given to players by default upon reaching a certain rank. Furthermore, since ranking up has become easier, maximum cost limits have soared to the point where the impact of team cost is negligible. Below the entire row containing the card icon, card stats, level, and monster cost is the active skill that is tersely labeled skill in blue font. The reason for calling this the active skill is because it helps differentiate it from the leader skill and because the skill must be actively used by the player in the dungeon, exactly like in the 5th round of the tutorial. After use, an active has a cooldown period of some number of turns that must pass by before it can be used again. A turn is basically a full period of comboing. One turn starts from the moment you pick up and move the orb and ends when you drop the orb, or when you run out of move time. If you look at the top right corner of the active skill, there is a level display for the active itself, known as the skill level. Raising the skill level will reduce the cooldown by 1 turn for each level. We'll go over the how in a future video. Active skill effects vary endlessly, from something as simple as creating some orbs to something as grandiose as shaving off a percentage of an enemy's health bar. Since actives can make or break a team in a dungeon, one could claim that active skills are arguably the most important component of any card. And last but not least, there is the leader skill. Only the leaders have their leader skills activated. The leader skills of subs are inactive in gameplay. Leader skills can provide tremendous passive boosts to the entire team and can also provide different multipliers and other effects if certain activation clauses are fulfilled. Leader skills not only dictate team composition and playstyle, but also directly impact the chances of success in clearing dungeons. Synergy, in terms of Puzzle and Dragons, is the idea of selecting subs with aspects that harmonize with the leader skill. For example, let's take a look at Mega Awoken Dark Metatron. Once upon a time, she dominated the game with her overwhelming strength and survivability. Remember when I said that typing could be a requirement for certain leader skill effects? According to her leader skill, Dark Metatron provides a tremendous health and attack multiplier for God type only. Thus, cards that are God type will have far more synergy with Dark Metatron than cards which are not God type. Here are two example teams and their corresponding health bars. One team is filled with subs that are not God type, while the other team only has cards that are God type. As you can see, the second team has so much more health than the first team, which means the second team directly improves your chances of clearing any dungeon because you can survive longer. Though there are many more nuances to team building, this is the essence that I wanted to show so that you understand the beginnings of crafting a stronger team. Who knows, maybe we'll go over said nuances in a future video. And that concludes the first episode of Pad for Dummies. If you have further questions, feel free to comment down below or to ask your questions in Discord. My server link is down in the description below. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys next episode. Good luck and have fun.